Module 3, Topic B, Review. It says in 1 hour, Sam used 2/4 of the time to play with his friends and 1/8 of the time to eat his lunch. How much time did he spend playing with his friends and eating lunch? So we're going to take 2/4 and add it to 1/8. We can do this one of two ways. We can draw a picture if you want, which would be this over here. And we split it into fourths. And this over here would be our eighths. And then we shade in. So in this case, we're shading in 2/4. And in this case, we're shading in 1/8. And now we're going to take this and split it in the opposite direction. We're going to resplit that again. We had done ninths, so there we go. And split this into fourths. And now our new fractions are going to be out of 32 boxes. And our new fraction is going to be out of 32 boxes, we see. And we know that we have 16 shaded. And we know that we have 4 shaded. I'm going to add them in a minute. I'm going to show you back over here that I could have looked at this. And I can do, we multiply the denominators. So we get 32 because this is times 8. So up here is times 8. And we get 16. And then down here was times 4. And we get 32. And this was times 4. So we get that. So now our answer when we add all this together is 20/32. And of course we have to simplify. And I notice I can divide this by 4. If you want to divide it by 2, you can, but then you'll have to simplify again. And I end up with 5/8. And so my answer is that he spent 5/8 of his time. And that's how we figure out how much time that he did that. So another option that we can do here is that we can figure out our bonus. It says to write the answer in minutes. We know that there's that he spent 5/8 of his time, so there's a total of 8/8, which was a total of 8/8. So we know we're working with, and we know that there's 60 minutes in that 1 hour that we are talking about here. So he really is doing 5/8 of 60 minutes. And to figure that out, we have to figure out how much is each eighth. So we're going to try to do this over here where there's some room on the side over here. We're going to say 8 goes into 60. How many times? Now this is just a bonus, so if you're confused by this, it is okay. So it's 7.5 minutes. So if he has 5 of them, we're going to say that it's 7.5 times 5, because he did it for 5 of the eighths. It was 37.5 minutes is our answer for how many minutes it was. Next, we're going to draw a model to help solve the problem of 5/7 and 4/6. And yes, it says to write it in a mixed number. Since it tells me it has to be a model, I must draw the model. So here's my sevenths. And here's my sixths. And we have 5/7 and we have 4/6. So we also need to shade them in. I'm going to shade them so that we can see them. And we're going to shade 4/6. And now we're going to put the lines in the opposite direction in order to help us. And we know that our new denominator, all those squares, give us a 42. And 30 are shaded. And this one we have 42. And 28 are shaded. So our new sentence would be 30 40-seconds plus 28 40-seconds. And we end up with 58 40-seconds. Now we have to divide 58 by 42 in order to make a mixed number, because we can't have an improper fraction where the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So it goes in one time with 16 40-seconds left over. And now I'm going to divide both of these by 2, and I end up with 1 and 8 21sts. And that would be my final answer. Next, it says Patrick drank 2/3 a liter of water Monday before going jogging. He drank 4/5 of a liter after his jog. How much water did Patrick drink altogether? Write your answer as a mixed number. So we have 2/3 plus 4/5. And the common denominator, because I can multiply this by 5 and then this by 3, which means this should be by 5 and this should be by 3, because we're multiplying the two denominators together. And that gives me 10/15. And this gives me 12/15. And when I add them together, I end up with 22/15, which I then need to make sure I turn into a mixed number of 1 and 7/15 liters. Next one says to draw a model, write a subtraction sentence with like units, and then circle your answer for each of your subtraction problems. So we're going to draw a model we have right here. I have to split it in half, and then over here we're going to split it into sevenths. And we're going to shade in 1/2, and we're going to shade in 1/7. And then we're going to put our lines in the opposite direction in order to help us. And the opposite direction, and our new fraction we have here. And now we need to set up our new problem up here. And we end up with 5/14, and we're going to circle our answer like it asks. Now over here we have 3/5. And over here we're going to have 1/2. We're going to shade in 3/5 and shade in 1/2. And then we're going to fill in our opposite direction. And we know that that gives us 6/10 and 5/10. And now we're going to do and before we figure out what our final answer is, I apologize. I'm going to go back to the other problem because I didn't show any of my xing. So here we had 2. We had to x out 2 here. So back here, I'm over in this problem. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need to x out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we end up with 1/10 because there's 1/10 right there. Next, it says for the following problems, draw a picture using our rectangular fraction model and write the answer and then simplify. So we have to show these. This is greater than 1. As a matter of fact, it's 2. So we know we need 2 wholes and then another fraction. And then for this fraction, I only need 1. And in order to solve this, we know that we're splitting us up into thirds. So that represents 2 and 2/3 over here. And this one's a 1/2. And we're going to shade it in. 2 wholes, so I have to shade in all of this. And then 2/3, 2 of these thirds. And then we need to shade in a whole entire 1/2. And then we need to put our lines in. So we're going to take our half. And over here, we're going to take our thirds. And we're now working with 6. So we're going to end up over here with 3/6. This might be easier if we look at, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 thirds. Look at it as a whole improper fraction. And now we're turning this into, because we split it like this, we're turning this into 6, which would give me 16/6. So our new problem is 16/6 minus 3/6. Now we have to set up where we can cross out. So we notice here we have 1, 2, 3. So we have to cross out 1, 2, 3. And we're going to notice that we end up with 13/6. The next problem over here is a whole with another fraction, so we need 2, which will represent my 1 5/6. And this is another one, which will represent my 1/3. So we're going to split this up into thirds. We're going to split this up into sixths. And now we have to shade in, so we're going to shade in 1 whole and 5 of the sixths. And over here we're going to shade in 1/3. And now over here we're going to notice there's not just 1 5/6 that we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 sixths. And now we're going to put in the opposite direction, so we need sixths. And we need thirds. And when we see that, we're now making 18ths. And our new problem is 33/18 minus 6/18. So we're going to go over here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have to cross out then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when we do that, we see that we're left with 27/18, which we can't leave as an improper fraction. We know it's 1 and 9/18. We have to simplify that to 1 and 1/2. Next, Mr. Smith ate 1/7 of a cake. His son ate 2/3. Who ate the most and how much? So we have 1/7 and we have 2/3. Those are the two things that we have. We want to figure out what they each ate, so we're going to make a common denominator. So we're going to multiply by the opposite denominator, which gives me 21. So over here, 2/3 was his son, and this is Mr. Smith. So when I look at these two fractions, who ate the most? I see that his son ate 14/21, which I know I can simplify. This can be simplified into 2/3, and this can be simplified into 1/7. By going back, that doesn't do me any good. I want to stay with the denominators that are the same. So I look at 14/21, and I know that his son ate more. And then it says how much of the cake was left. So I have to add these two numbers together because they have eaten 15/21. So what's left? I have to figure out that the whole is 21/21 and subtract it. And 6/21 is left. And that is the end of the topic B review.